Hello and welcome to episode 27 of Unplanned with Phil Bland. I think the last time I did an episode was the start of June, and I look like I've been sunbathing since then. But yeah, I just wanted to do an episode with Craig McGrory. Craig's been quite active on social media during the coronavirus lockdown that we had in the UK. Talking about his experiences with mental health, and I know this isn't something that guys tend to talk about quite a lot, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about his experiences with struggles with mental health. So I'll bring him in. Craig, welcome to the show.
Right. Thanks for having me.
No worries. I'm in Greece right now. So it's absolute
vitamin C.
Getting some of that Greece. So I guess I usually start these with, how's lockdown going? But obviously things are starting to ease off. So how are you? How are you feeling kind of coming out of the lockdown period? And obviously I think, it's been, particularly on the kind of mental health side of things, it's been a really challenging time for a lot of people because
definitely.
They're like normality, it kind of the way that they live their lives has completely changed. So trying to adapt to this new time is probably a struggle. So how was that period for you, and how are you doing at the moment?
I'm good just now, but I guess it's like not just with mental health, but it's changed like everyone's kind of lives, I think in a good perspective, if you look at it, it's made people a lot realize what their values are and what's most important to them in their life, rather than, for me anyway, it's like, I've concentrated on family and my real friends and close friends, and you kind of, you realize a lot of people have more drinking associates and partying associates rather than real friends, and I think you find that out in times like this. So I've just been really close with family and doing what's important in life really just now instead of
I definitely found that as well. It was a kind of level, it was like a just strip everything back and kind of get to what's important.
Exactly.
So so in a way it sounds like it was probably easier for you.
In a way. I mean, right at the start of lockdown, obviously I struggle from mental health, depression, PSD and things, and I'm in a good place now, but
for people that don't know what that is, what's PSD?
That's that's suicidal awareness, so it is. So it's just, but I obviously suffered from suicide twice. I'd went through a couple of times in my life. So first time was when I very first realised I had depression. I was 22 and I tried to kill myself at that point in time. Just went through really hard times, and people who have went through that know, it's just a blood vision you get and you can't see anything bar, not being here, just feeling rubbish and shit about yourself. But right at the start of lockdown, I actually went through, that was my second time, and I feel, I get 3 shots at things, and I had to change my life around, and I did. So I'm happy now, but it was hard work, and it wasn't just me, it was close friends and family. I wouldn't be here without them, so they helped me get through it.
Was it kind of the lockdown, you think, that triggered that?
It was a mixture of things for me. So I'm diabetic type 1, have been since I was 11 years old, so I suffer quite a lot of health problems, and just before Christmas I was going blind in one eye and had to have 2 operations in it. And I can say for the first time in my life, I used to think money was everything. Like I used to think money was absolutely everything. I used to go, you can buy happiness. It was my mum that always told me, there'll be a day you'll figure out money isn't everything, happiness is, and your family and love and stuff. And I got this in my left eye and I was going blind, and I was like, shit, like if I was blind, like I'm not going to be able to see. Your sight is way more important than money. Like you can't buy that. So it made me click for the first time in my life. Like money isn't everything. Like your health is, and having family and support around you is. So, I mean, obviously, I do believe you know, of course you need money and things and you want money, but it's not, you know, it's not everything. You shouldn't just chase it for the rest of your life. Like, when I was younger, I was just mad, like, chasing money, trying to work loads. You know, I would work as much as I can to get as much money as I could, just so I could do nice things. But at the end of the day, your family and friends and, you know, your health's more important.
And was it so during lockdown when you said it was like you had the issues with your eye? Was that like shit? My health is now being taken away from me, and that was the big thing that was like a trigger.
And that was a trigger. And right before lockdown, I ended a relationship. Well, I didn't. It was ended kind of thing mutually, and you know, it was a very intense relationship. And I think with me, I've had 3 relationships in my life, and they've all been kind of long serious relationships. Apart from this one, wasn't long, but it was very, very intense. And I think for me, I only get into a relationship if I'm absolutely mesmerised and I put everything into my relationships. And you know, I had to change that. I had to learn to love myself again before I could love anyone else, because that was the problem. I didn't, and I was putting them before anything and everything when I was in it. And you know, it wasn't the right thing. As much as you'd love and cherish your partner, it was like you can't give it all to them. Like, you know, you still have to see your family. You still have to love yourself. Like, you need to love yourself before you love anyone else, I think. And I've just recently found that out.
Yeah, I always think of it like a table. Like it's 2 legs of a table, and they're holding up the relationship, but they can stand alone, rather than like a rope that's intertwined. Like,
that's a very good example, actually. I like that.
and the way, like, if you can't stand by yourself, then you can't properly, like, ropes are a lot more flexible than tables are. Tables are solid. So it's like, if you can't stand by yourself, then you're not going to be able to carry the weight of other people's struggles and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it was a mixture of things for me that kind of got me at that point. And then I'd actually got addicted to valium. So I was, I mean, it started off, I wasn't getting really good sleep because I was going through health problems with my eyes. So I was up all night, and, you know, I would take maybe the odd 1 or 2 to what I thought was nothing. And for me, like, I'm not a big drinker or anything, or I don't, you know, and I was used to these to kind of blur everything out in the world. And at the time when I broke up from the relationship, it just kind of, I think it wasn't just that, it all hit me at once. And I was just like, one night I was just like, oh, I don't even want to be here. So I was taking a lot of them to blur me out, but then I just kept grabbing them and taking them to, you know, I didn't want to be there at that time, so I thought it would have killed me. So that's the way I was feeling at the time. But I woke up the next day, and luckily enough I'm still here. And, you know, I knew I was addicted to them because I was taking a lot at the time, and I couldn't wind off them. So I woke up the next day and I was having seizure symptoms, falling over, falling into walls. And I just, you know, I went like that. I need to get help. So I phoned my mum, just told her everything.
Oh, right. So so nobody found you at the time?
No,
or like,
no. No, because I stayed myself, so nobody found me at the time, and I was just like, I need to go to the hospital, and I went in and admitted everything to them. And, you know, the hospital, the NHS are great, so they gave me all the support I needed and help, and my family were more than amazing. So, and, you know, like, I've another thing, I've done boxing since the age of 11, so I've always been very disciplined, and, you know, I've got a really good mindset. So, you know, having to make weight for fights, etc., having to be ready to fight, it gave me the good mindset, and that I was like, I need to change my life. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop me. And what I did was I moved back home with my parents, and, you know, a massive help to me. They took care of me. And with Valium, you can't just, you know, it wasn't a case that I could just stop taking them. And anybody that does it, they'll know you can't, because I was in touch with rehab, and they were saying to me that Valium's actually more addictive than heroin, believe it or not. and you would never think that. And I didn't until then.
I was kind of thinking about that when we were going to talk about this, because one of the things that people do when they deal with mental health struggles is they kind of like they they depend on some sort of substance or
something, whether it's alcohol.
Yeah, and you, like, I'd always known you as being like really diligent, really like hard trainer for the boxing and things. So that's interesting that the Valium was the thing that you kind of used to blur things out.
It's because I don't like drink. When I drink, sometimes I like being out in a social group and getting drunk, and that's the only reason I'll drink. I don't enjoy it. I do it to get drunk, and recently I've decided that I'm not that I needed to go teetotal because I didn't drink a lot, but I was like, I feel so much better just not drinking, being able to get up, train, feel better about myself, because every day drinks are depressant as well, so it's not going to help, But yeah, so I had to wind down off the Valium, but and anybody that's went through this will know it's literally the hardest thing. I mean, you're getting it's like when you go cold turkey, you get shakes, you get withdrawals. But I just came down slowly at a time, but I came down a lot quicker than I should have because I was determined. And I really do believe that it's all in your mind. And like people say, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't stop smoking, I can't." You just need to train your brain, and I genuinely believe that. That's what it is. And I had, like I say, a really good mindset from having to make weight through boxing. That's what gave me it, and I knew 100% I would get off them, and I did. I got off them within 2 months, and I've actually never touched. And I know for a fact I would never touch one again. So definitely not. So.
And did you ever like speak to doctors about, because you talk about mindset there, one of the big kind of question marks or things that people talk about with mental health, is it a chemical imbalance or is it mindset? Do you have control over it? Like, how do you feel about that, having had some of these experiences?
That's a good question. For me, I talked to a lot of therapists before. My mum was kind of the one that I was always like, before March came, I was always I had my depression for years. I mean, people look at my social media and would have thought, he's a happy guy living a good life, when you can't judge a book by its cover. So I was hiding it all. I was coming in at night, going to my room, and I'd putting the blinds down and locking it all in, which is the worst thing you can do. And I did it because 2 reasons. One was embarrassment. I was just so embarrassed about it. And the second reason was my mum. I knew she would just be distraught, and I just thought, I can't tell her because she'll be depressed, because she suffers depression also, and she'll get really bad, and I loved her too much to kind of put her through it. So that's why I kept it in. But that's what a lot of guys are too proud. I mean, I was like, I can't be like this. Like, I'm this boxer, like, supposed to be kind of, tough guy or whatever from everybody's point of view. And I was like, that's just embarrassing admitting it. When really it's like, nah, stop the bullshit and just talk. If you've got real friends and real family, they'll understand, which, they proved me wrong. They did, and they were amazing. And, I knew they would be deep down, but at the same time, I was like, oh, I don't know. I just, it gets to you. So.
When was that? Like, when did you first kind of decide, like, I'm gonna talk to people about this, that there's something not right?
So what happened was, I was in the very start of Corona in hospital, like I say, when I overdosed, and we had this family chat.
But see the first time that this happened.
All right, yeah.
Because did you keep that to yourself?
Yeah, this is actually quite a kind of tough story. A lot of people. There's only a couple of people that know this, but now I'm open and comfortable talking about it. But when I was 22, I went to Australia, and I moved out to Australia for a year boxing, and I'd just broken up with my first girlfriend at the time, and I was out there. I was kind of lonely at times, missing home, homesick. I came back home literally for a break just to see family and stuff, and all of a sudden depression kicked in, and I felt suicidal, and like thoughts were coming back. Like, for me, I think it was relationships that really affect me, and I've had to learn recently to, you know, be happy on my own. Like I say, love yourself on your own. But I was so depressed. I was home, and one night I was in my mum and dad's house staying, and I literally just took loads of pills, like just prescription pills that were there. Took loads of them, just crying my eyes out. Didn't want to be here.
You weren't addicted to them at that point.
No, I wasn't addicted. It was, for me, I just feel I couldn't do anything that would, you know, like, for me, this is personal. I couldn't jump off a bridge or something like that. It just wasn't in me. And it was the easiest way to kind of not be there at the time. And I thought, and I was just crying my eyes out in my room, swallowing loads of them. Next minute, I woke up and I'm in a ventilator in the hospital, is all I knew. But what had actually happened was, my brother had came into the room in the morning. His room was next door to me, and he just thought, cause diabetes and stuff, you know, I took not well a lot. He just thought, I must not be going to his work. He must not be well. So he left and went, and then my mum came up before she went to work, and she shouted my name, and then she thought the kind of same, but she said she walked out the room and she had mother's instinct that something wasn't right. So she came back in, tried to wake me, couldn't get me awake. Phoned an ambulance right away. The ambulance came out, and they were like, kind of like, don't worry, we'll give him this jag, which you get if you go into diabetic hypoglycemia. But I wasn't in a hypo, and they just assumed it was that, and they gave me jag, and then they went, oh, actually, we need to get him away straight away. So they rushed me in the ambulance over at the hospital. My heart actually stopped 5 minutes into the ambulance, so I kind of died, and then came back, and then they got me to the hospital, and they got me in, and they took my parents, so it was in intensive care, and they got my parents, took them in the room, and my mum was like, what's happening, is he dying, is he going, and the doctor just went, it's 50-50, he'll either die or live, kind of thing, like, it's either or. And then the next minute I know I'm waking up, there's a ventilator there in me, and I had all these messages on Facebook, you know, like loads of caring people saying, like, just get better, Craig, I hope you're okay, things like this. And I woke up in shock, like, oh my god, and it just kind of clicked to me, oh god, they're going to know, like, you know, that was my first thought. It wasn't I'm okay, or it was, oh my god, they're going to know. And I was so embarrassed, and I was like, so it turns around, they didn't actually know what had happened. The doctors were saying, we don't know, we're running tests. So they were doing all these tests, and I was letting them do them. And I was like, I'm not admitting this, like, I'm not going to admit this, because that is so embarrassing. Like, so 8 years, people would say, oh, what was it happened? I would just go, you know, they put it down to exhaustion, because I was working loads at the time, training loads, and I was just like, oh, they say it's exhaustion, but they don't really know. When deep down I knew, I just didn't want to admit it.
And your family knew?
My family never knew either. I never told them. And then we actually had a conversation maybe 3 years after it, 2 or 3 years, and I told my brother and my mum, and that was all that knew. And that is all that really knew, to be honest with you, to this day.
Wow.
I didn't really, I've not really told anybody that, but now I'm comfortable, you know, I'm 100 million times better. I want to talk about it, because I don't want anybody else to feel. That's why I'm doing all these videos. I don't want anybody else in that position, and, you know, guys are the worst, like we say.
So did you when you woke up, you found out, and then did you the doctors obviously would have known, because they would have found it in your blood?
They genuinely never knew. I swear, really? That's exactly what I thought. The only time I got questioned was when I went to my GP about maybe 3 weeks after I got out of hospital, and they said there was a lot of ibuprofen found in my thing, and they did say, they went, you've not been taking sleeping tablets, have you? And I just went, no. And they left it at that. That was how it was.
Crazy.
Left.
And then what? You've just been like keeping that massive secret for years.
I just, you know, I got put on antidepressants, and like, that was a good question you asked about what do I think, if it's a chemical, etc. You know, doctors tell me this. They say it's a chemical imbalance in the brain. It's like having diabetes. You need insulin. So, but for me, they do help, they help, antidepressants, and you do need them if you're struggling really bad. But for me, you know, I just genuinely believe it's all in the mind. And you know, when it happened, I was put straight on to, like, I was on 20 milligrams of fluoxetine, and it went up to 60 as fast as it could. I've not been back to the doctor to come off them, but personally, I've just whined myself off them, and now I'm off them completely. So, and I feel good, and I know if I have a bad time, I just need to deal with it, not deal with it, but cope with it, and do things that will help get over it, whether it's, you know, doing something you love, whether it's, for me, boxing, read a wee motivational thing, like quotes are really good, books. I've never read a book in my life, honestly, and I read these two books. One was called Good Vibes, Good Life. Really recommend it. I mean, I think it was like a Bible for me. Honestly, it's like, even when I feel down now, I can just flick through it and go into it and read wee parts, and just everything's kind of so true. The other one was The Power of Now, so that was really good as well. Stuff like that really, really does help. You just need to kind of give it a go and push yourself.
If you like that, you should listen to Russell Brand's interview with Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's incredible.
My favorite actually, you know, there's a few, Denzel Washington, but my favorite was actually Matthew McConaughey. He is really, you know, stuff he says is amazing, and you know, these are really good ones for people that are struggling to watch. Just if you type in YouTube, you get these guys come up.
And if you don't have people around you that you feel like you can talk to or like get advice from, then I guess you can look up this stuff, whether it's reading a book or going on YouTube or everything like that.
You know, I think the reason why I kind of got in contact with you and wanted to do this was because I was doing my own videos, like you say, and you know, I cringed at them before. I used to cringe and think that's just embarrassing. But see, at the end of the day, see the amount of people I got messaging me on Facebook when I was coming out, because they genuinely didn't believe someone like me could come out and say stuff. Like, they see my, you know, social media is such a bad thing in this world, and we all crave it so much. And you know, it's so false. It's so false. We don't put up pictures first thing in the morning or looking bad, or, you know, like me now, I've got a bad hay fever, so my eyes are all puffed. I wouldn't take a picture and put it up. You're going to make sure you take 10 pictures, get your best picture and put it up, so nobody sees the truth, really. And, you know, I've learned to kind of come off social media, and people always ask me, oh, you're always off and on it, and I go, because I know I need a wee break from it, and that's why I'll come off it for a bit. And that's just my own perspective, and that's what I tend to do. But yeah, nobody expects me to come out with these videos, and I think they've shocked, and they're then realizing that it's helped them maybe talk. So
yeah, for sure,
that's why I want to keep it up.
Like the realer the conversations, the more people kind of feel connected, because
100%,
because it's the truth. I know that, but people want to believe in this kind of fake version of people because it looks great, and it's kind of like, but it's so surface level that it doesn't really get into the kind of ups and downs of what it is to be a human.
100%.
And you know, there's a whole part of our human experience that people aren't talking about.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, you can, you know, we try and forget about it, and so many, especially guys, like we say, like, girls are so much more, you know, open and can turn to their pal and talk about it a lot more. I mean, not everyone, but a lot more than guys. I mean, guys, we just have this persona that we're a man, and we, you know, we need to be tough and hold in. It's embarrassing if you tell him your end of years, but at the end of the day, you're human. You need to talk about it. You're not going to be here, and that was what happened to me until I have learned to talk about it.
I think that the fact that, you know, this has happened for the second time recently, and the fact that you're dealing with it in such a different way is such a bigger sign of strength, to be willing to just come out there and be honest about your experience. And it's helping other people, but it's also helping you, because you're not hiding anything. That's part of your healing process.
Yeah, you know, I've learned to just kind of not really, you know, care too much what others think, rather than people that matter in my life. And you know, like, most people cringe, just for an example, most people cringe if people put up a picture of themselves with their top off and stuff like that, right? And I used to kind of think, oh, what an idiot or whatever. But see, at the end of the day, see if you're proud of yourself and you love yourself, and that's because I put it up and people go, oh, he loves himself, and I'm going, do you know what? I do love myself for the first time in my life, so I don't really care. And for me, it doesn't need to be like a picture of your body. People just assume that, but for me, I've just loved boxing, loved training all my life, so that's my happy thing. But whether it's golf, whether it's going to walk with your dogs, whatever it is, like, share it. Tell people what your happy thing is. That's what you need to focus on, rather than, and that's what will help you get out of these situations.
What was like? I guess I want to know more about the years in between.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
When that happened. Obviously, it's been quite a long time. It's like 22 now. What age are you? I'm right, 30.
I'm 30 now. 30, yeah, just turned.
So that's like 8 years of keeping a secret. So
yeah, definitely.
What was it like?
So I started off when I'm a scaffolder to trade, and I was working. I was boxing at the same time, but then an opportunity came up and I started my own business with my dad at first, and it was doing really well, and the stress of it was really hard. Trying, 1 week you're really, really busy, the next you're a wee bit quieter, or dealing with having to get more guys in and not enough, and I found it kind of hard to cope with and stuff. But I had that up till about a year ago now. So I did that. Oh, that was what my trade was. My business was doing that, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. But the stress was hard, especially when you're dealing with mental health from that. So, and I just basically, I partied a lot. I was one of these guys that messaged loads of girls on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of them will know. I chased it. I craved it. I was like, probably deep down, I needed the attention. Of like. I needed someone there, but I just I didn't really realise it in a way. So that's why probably I did message, loads of girls and I always had to kind of be around them and stuff like that. But so about 3 years ago now, that would be 2017, me and my friends, all the boys, we used to go to LA every year, and we partied pretty hard and had like the time of our lives, to be honest with you. So this was the last time we went, and we went to LA, and we were literally, we were staying in the best hotels, just having an amazing time, literally partying with celebrities. Just so lucky and privileged to have that happen. But I actually had a court case that was due, and it was due the day after I get back, and so we were literally out partying, living the best life, eating the best food, and we arrived back from LA, and the boys always talk about it and say I should do a story on it because it's literally crazy. LA to Low Moss, because the next day I actually ended up in prison, in Low Moss prison, which is crazy, for driving offences.
Driving offences?
Yeah, it wasn't.
What did you do?
Stupidly, I had a ban, got another ban, but I kept driving like an idiot just because it was convenient. It was there. So I wasn't speeding at the time, wasn't on the phone, nothing. I just generally get caught on a ban, which is absolutely stupid. So that was my third time. Immaturity. So I got 6 months in prison and a 5-year ban, actually, which is crazy because I literally got home at 11 at night from LA, like had the best time of my life, then went to court the next morning straight to Low Moss. And I remember there was this guy, and we were in like a kind of hall bit, and we were waiting to get seen off the social worker or whatever. And the telly's on, it's Justin Bieber in the music video, and the guy's like, oh, he's something else, isn't he? And I go, I was literally partying with him last week, and the guy's like laughing. The guy's like, and I'm like, no, seriously, I was. So that was like a big shock in life, and a big learning experience going through all that, and that probably had a big toll on my mental health as well.
Did it in prison?
To be fair, in prison, and I think a lot of people think I'm just saying this, but I'm not. See, for me, prison was like a rehab because I had no phone, I had no worries, I couldn't do anything about it. I was in a cell, and I couldn't do anything about business. I had to get other people to sort it. Yeah, I can make phone calls, but it's not like you can pick up your phone and phone somebody. It's like you need to put in a pin. You have the number written down so that they know the number you're phoning. It's not as easy as that. So for me, it was like a massive break. Like I was just like, like so de-stressed, and I was just honest and being myself, and I didn't lie. I told them what I was in for and stuff like that, and just kept myself to myself. Dealt with it, and then when I came out, it was good to get back out. But then you jump straight on your phone, and you're like, it's honestly, I think it's one of the biggest things to do with not just mental health, to do with people like in life, like. Think back when we were younger. What did you used to do? Play manhunt, kick a ball. My dad used to whistle me in for dinner, literally, and I'd scoff my dinner in 2 seconds and be running out again. These days, kids are bloody staying in. But I think lockdown was the best thing that could happen to them. They've always sat in, play their PlayStation off school, and it's changed days, and I don't think for the good in some ways.
I think that it's kind of like when you take away options, people get a lot happier. Whereas if you've got unlimited options, if all your friends are just sitting in their houses and nobody's posting stuff about all of the amazing things that they're doing, then the only one thing that you could do is stay at home.
I know, exactly.
And, save lives, protect the NHS. Like that's that's literally, and I almost feel like there's a lot of challenges with staying at home with family and all that stuff, but the one thing you don't need to have is like loads of stuff that you could be doing and should be doing or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that can be like one of the, even from my perspective, that's usually when I've got lots of things that I want to be doing. That's when I kind of struggle with like anxiety and things like that. I think like from my perspective, I'm like super lucky because I haven't really been through your very, very extreme situation, but a lot of people are dealing with this.
That's the way I look at it. See, whenever I'm down and whenever I'm in a bad situation, I always think, well, what about this person and the next person? They're in a worse situation, so stop moaning and get on with it and deal with it.
I mean, you've got so much to be grateful for.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a really good family. I've got loads to be grateful for. So,
but I guess it's just like really hard to know that at the time.
Because it's hard to 100. Like, it's so hard at the time. Like so hard. Everybody used to tell me loads of stuff, and I used to go in one ear and go out the other. And until you really set your mind, think about things, and train your brain. That is the key, training your brain. And sometimes I'll sit, like the last week I was watching a bit too much on Netflix and stuff like that, and I was like, why? I could be doing something more productive that's going to help me in life than just sitting watching this, and help out and train, or
or help other. Sorry to interrupt. Or help other people. Like the fact that you, like sometimes the things that I do, like if I'm reading a book or I'm learning something, but I'm not necessarily like making some sort of contribution to help other people, then it doesn't make me feel as good as I do when I do a talk like a conversation like this, because
100%.
that you do it once, but like there's so many people out there that are gonna have listened to the experiences that you've had, and there's probably like, especially west coast of Scotland where we're both from, there's probably thousands of young guys that go out to the nightclubs that we used to go to, or still sometimes do, but like they're pretending that they are happy, have any problems. Pretend that they're miserable, and like just the fact that you are coming out and just being honest about it is like, and this is now just kind of online for people to go and watch. They might be hiding something like you were hiding for 8 years,
Yeah.
and they might watch this and go, I've got to tell somebody about what I'm going through.
Yeah, for
But
sure. You know, that's why I opened up, because I was like, I want to, you know, see, during lockdown, even when I was going through my own stuff right at the start, when I was still on the Valium, you know, so many people reached out to me and I wanted to help them. And, you know, you do need to help yourself first before you can help others. It's so true. Like, you don't want to overdo it. But a lot of people, you know, message me and thank me. I've had them up boxing training and talked to them through their problems, told them what's helped me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you, but I'll give them all the advice that helped me to try and help them. And, you know, some of them are in a great place now. Some of my best friends even, and one of them's in a really good place now, doing so well, changed his life out, and he had substance abuse and stuff in another way, but he's doing amazing now. And, you know, he thanks me, and I'm like, no, you helped me as much as I helped you, because, you know, I like that. It gives me a focus and makes me feel so much better about myself being able to help them. And, you know, so it works equal ways. So
what do you do to when you feel like
so
things are kind of getting on top of you? And I'm going to sort out my lighting again. Sorry. Right, but
well, for instance, like I say, like I was never never really read books in my life. Maybe read one in prison. So what I did was I actually got it on Kindle, the Good Vibes, Good Life, and, you know, I proper read it, like enjoyed it and like loved it. And, you know, the kind of things I do, it was because it was motivational, it was inspirational, it was telling me all. It was literally as if someone was talking to me, telling me all the shit I had to change in life. And, you know, I had to love myself before I loved anyone else. And if somebody's out your life, then, you know, they'll come back if it's meant to be. They won't if it's not. And a big thing I sent all my friends is, see genuinely just someone genuinely talking and telling the truth. So see, like these motivational videos from Denzel Washington, Matthew McConaughey, David Goggins, you know, I'll go on, I'll watch one of them. I mean, I watched David Goggins and I'll literally be at 2 a.m. and I'll literally swear I'll go a run like as soon as I've watched it, because, you know, he pumps you up that much and gets you that.
He's a serious guy.
He's just a beast. But, you know, he inspires you that much because he's just speaking the truth. He's like, you know, I believe what he says. Sometimes it might be hurtful, but it's genuine. Like, you know, if you put on weight and you feel yourself you're fat, then do something about it. Don't expect people to just feel sorry for yourself. Like, same with me. Like, I suffered depression, and, you know, I was like, oh, or my health problems, and I would maybe use that as an excuse. But it's like, nah, like, get your act together and sort it. Like, you can do something about this. And, you know, it's very hard you want to feel sorry for yourself, and there's that pocket in your brain that holds all these negative thoughts and, you know, these excuses not to get up and run. But see, if you just go, no, I'm doing this, then you'll do it. You genuinely will. If you believe, you know, if you really believe in something, you can do it. I don't believe in the word impossible. Like, I genuinely don't, because everything's possible if you put your mind to it. So
and it's also like, on one hand, like social media, like you're watching all these fake perceptions of what life is, but I guess you've got a choice to follow them.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like, or you can choose to like follow creative people, designers, people that are doing things. So it's like people, rather than like it's making the choice not to follow people who make you feel bad about your life.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that is, you know, be different for every single person, but whatever you enjoy and whatever you feel is genuinely helping you in life, then do. But whatever's being negative, you need to cut that out. And, you know, it's going to be different for everyone, but whatever it is, you do genuinely need to cut it out. It's like, for me, I didn't want to see people during lockdown going out and partying. And, you know, I genuinely, when I was like recovering from the Valium, I was genuinely not on my phone. Like, I had deleted Instagram for ages, and, you know, I don't really use Facebook much. I only use it recently to kind of upload these videos and try and help others. But
yeah,
I genuinely came off it because I didn't want to, and it was the best thing I'd done.
Yeah. Do you think, like, I remember reading a book, and it was talking about people, like, I guess narcissism in a way, and people take people view like people who care about themselves as thinking like they're amazing. But there's another version of that where, like, sometimes when you're like, you think your problems are so bad, you think that you're special because your problems are so much worse than somebody else's.
You find
And it can,
excuses to make that happen
but
when really it's not.
but that can almost be like a nice feeling for people as well. Like, it can be nice to just sit, like, almost like, not nice, like more like, I don't know how to put
Reassuring.
it. Yeah, reassuring to just think, like, everything in your life is the most important thing, and your problems are so much worse than everybody else's, and then you just dwell on them, and it goes round and round and round in your head. Sometimes, like, and the way that you're trying to do these videos and things is to, like, go, my problems aren't the most important thing. The most important thing is, like, trying to other people are going through just as big things, and that's like a way to get through stopping yourself thinking that your problems are terrible, by just acknowledging that other people are going through other challenges as well and trying to, like, help them.
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely right there. I mean, like I say, it's so hard. See, when you're honestly in that zone and you're just, there's nothing else, just genuinely nothing else you can focus on, and it's so hard. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's easy for me saying it now, but it's not just going to work. And you need to understand that, anyone that I'm giving this advice out to, it's not just going to happen and you're going to turn the way I am, they're now happy and changed. It's going to take time. It's going to take hard work. Anything worth doing does take time and effort. And you're going to go through, I mean, I still generally go through down days, down weeks, but it's about managing them and dealing with them in a better way to help yourself. And, like you say, helping others is a massive thing that will help you. Like, it's really, really big, but at the same time, you need to make sure you help yourself first.
And see the self-awareness thing about being able to identify when you're kind of getting to a point where you're going to have destructive behaviors. Is that something, have you kind of learned to kind of spot these things over?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you start doing?
Like, if I start, you get demotivated and you're kind of lying about the house and you're like bored, and then you start thinking down, like, oh, like, what am I doing? Blah, and you start overthinking. You go, what I do is I go, nope, right away. Something snaps in my brain because I've genuinely managed to train it, and it goes, nope, and then I go like that, right? What would help me? And I go, these motivational videos would help change that and get me back doing something that I'm supposed to help me, not feel this way. And that's what I genuinely do. I either read the books, like I say, or, a wee quote can simply help you as well. Like, these quotes are great. I love them. I genuinely believe they can make you think. So.
And exercise for you, is that a big one?
Exercise is a massive thing, and it's not just because I love it. It genuinely is proven that it releases endorphins in the brain, and it makes it, no matter what, it makes you happy. So no matter whether you like it or not, you should always give it a chance and try it, because at the end of the day, it's going to help. Like, it's proven to help no matter what.
Have you ever tried meditation?
I did. I tried meditation. I tried it for about a period of a month, and I personally just couldn't get into it. I couldn't. And I heard from loads of people that put me onto it. You just need to persevere and keep trying. I will definitely try again, but for me, it wasn't helping at that point. So that's just me personal.
Sometimes,
but yeah, it is great, I think, for people. So, and it really helps them.
I can kind of get into a meditation flow when I'm doing something like yoga, because because I do quite a bit of yoga. You can get into like because you're just breathing and you're only focusing on the poses.
Mindset.
It just completely separates you from the things that could be bothering you, because you're just focusing solely on doing one thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess, and that you might get that from boxing.
No, I think that's great, and that's why I say, like, meditation. Everyone says it, and it does help so many people. It's just that it didn't. I don't know if I gave it enough time, and I did try it, but for a while, and I found other things were helping me better, so I stuck to them. But it definitely does help loads of people out there. So it's definitely a really good recommendation. You kind of get in that zone, like you're saying, from yoga, that you can chill out and just think about what's going on. And it's like the power of now. You think about right now rather than anything else.
Exactly. And you're not like worrying about the future or the past.
Or
you're
the
just
past,
doing on today.
Yeah, exactly.
So was there, I guess, was there anything else we kind of didn't cover that you wanted to talk about?
Nah, I think that's it. And before we go, like, I just like to say, like, anybody out there that feels like they can't talk, I was like that for fucking 8 years and went to therapists, and just, for me personally, I think that you have to have been going through what we are going through and other people are going through to be able to talk to someone, because they'll get it. And I fully understand people that don't understand it because they've not went through it. So for me, I think you need to talk to someone that's been through it, and I think that's why I want to do these videos and want to help, because I have been through it. I've been through it all, and I'm still learning, and you'll still learn to the day you die. So, but I just want to make sure that anybody, will be kept private. They can message me anytime, and I'll 100% help them as much as I can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, like if anyone that I share this with is watching this on my channel, people can find you on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. I'm back on Instagram as well. It's Craig.McGrory. And Facebook, just Craig McGrory, McGrory. So
cool, man.
Yeah, just honestly, anybody, strangers, friends, anyone, I would really want to help people out, and especially people that are struggling like I have. So
that's awesome. All right, listen, it's been honestly, I'm just blown away about how brave you've been talking about this.
Appreciate it, awesome, man. I know. Thanks very much, dude, and thanks for doing this with me and getting the word out there as well.
Thanks for taking the time. Catch you later.
So I'll see you soon, man. Thanks.
See you soon. Bye.
Oh, fuck my back.